Hi everybody, I'm Drew Carey. I'm here in Brentwood, California, outside of a perfectly legal pharmacy. Brentwood sounds familiar to you. It's right outside of Los Angeles. It's where OJ used to live. It's a really rich area. And in this pharmacy, like any pharmacy in the United States, you can get pills for whatever ails you. Over the counter, prescription, you can get aspirin, eye drops, ear drops, creams. Also, if you need a little pick-me-up, you can go across the street to Starbucks and get a cup of coffee, a strong cup of coffee, a not so strong cup of coffee, whatever you want. You can just decide your own dose. Right next to that is a bar, restaurant. You can get cocktails, beer, wine, alcohol. There's another gourmet liquor store right down the block. So while within walking distance here in this really rich area of California, you can get anything you want to bring you up or down or in between. But there's one thing they sell here in California that's legal that the federal government doesn't want you to have. So here I am in front of the pharmacy in West Hollywood. It's on Santa Monica Boulevard, right by Santa Monica and Fairfax. Really busy street, busy intersection. This is one of over 100 places in Los Angeles where if you have a note from your doctor, you can get rare flowers, fine herbs, or organic medicine. In other words, medical marijuana. Smell that smell? It's the smell of freedom. Inside, I found a clean, well-lit place to legally buy cannabis. So here I am in the back room of the pharmacy, the medical marijuana dispensary. And as you can see, it's like a deli. I mean, they have, marijuana cooked in the food, ice cream, drinks like lemonade, strawberry lemonade, and there's cookies. So it's pretty cool. It's all really out in the open, and you can just see exactly what you're getting and pay for it with a credit card. I tried to get a drink here, but they don't have a liquor license. Well, we've come a long way, haven't we? You know, back in the 30s, when the government was trying to stomp out marijuana, they made a movie called Reefer Madness, which is kind of like a comedy cult classic now, where they showed marijuana smokers as derelicts of society who couldn't even smoke marijuana right.
Bring me some reefers.
It was horrible.
Shut up, shut up!
And still today, the federal government has marijuana in the same classification as heroin. Now you think if you take these drugs, you're going to end up on Skid Row, homeless, no hope, no control over your life. But with marijuana, it's just not true. Take Steph Shearer, who looks like the successful corporate woman that she is. Steph was an event planner in San Diego, but an injury changed her life and her career. Not only is Steph a medical marijuana user, but she started an organization to help others get safe and reliable medical cannabis.
In 2000, I had a severe neck injury, and it left me with a condition called torticollis, which basically means all of the muscles in my neck are in constant spasm, and that actually causes my skull to collapse on itself and causes my jaw to also collapse. About a year and a half into that injury, my kidneys started failing because of side effects of ibuprofen and pain medication. And one day I went to see my doctor to discuss this new problem, and he asked me if I smoked pot. And I told him I didn't, and he asked me if I knew where to get some. And I asked him if I was his youngest patient, because I thought that he was trying to get me to score pot for him. I had no idea what he was talking about. So he assured me that that was not the case, but that he had 2 patients that were using cannabis as an adjunct therapy with their other medications, and they were able to cut back the amount of ibuprofen and painkillers that they were taking. And so he suggested that if I could find some, that I should try it. At the time, he said I was about 6 months away from dialysis.
Across town, we met Bill Leahy, who owns a very successful printing business. I'll tell you what he's not. He's not some strung-out doper living on Skid Row like they'd make you think he would be because he uses marijuana.
I'm a hawk. I mean, I'm a right wing. I volunteered to go to Vietnam. I joined the service. I've always been a Republican. I'm very for law and order, right and wrong, right to have my guns. You know, if you want my gun, you better take it off my dead body, period, no questions. Medical marijuana, in my particular case, for taking it is for a variety of reasons. Marfan's is just a genetic problem that brought on the other symptoms, but I have an S-shaped spine and a curvature of the spine that was, everyone always thought was brought on by the quick growth spurt, but it seems to be inherent with with that, and I actually didn't know I had Marfan's until I had the AAA surgery. And the medical marijuana, or medical cannabis, has helped alleviate the pressure in my back. I mean, I have tremendous pressure in my back. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night, I can't even sleep, and my arms hurt, and it's all pain that's stemming from here going on and down. But I'm able to go in and I'll take my pipe and I'll take a puff or two, relax a little bit, and I'll be able to go back and go to sleep and come to work.
The amount that I needed was much greater than what I was finding, and so people started giving me the names of their dealers. The last straw for me was one day I was sitting in a Walgreens parking lot waiting for a dealer to come and meet me, and he was late. About 2 hours had gone by, and I was just sitting in this parking lot watching people go in and out, going in and getting their prescriptions and leaving, leaving without looking over their back, without worrying about what was going to happen to them after they left. And finally, this dealer showed up 2.5 hours late, and he told me he thought I was a cop, and he wouldn't sell the marijuana to me. And so I found myself in this Walgreens parking lot, bawling my eyes out to this skater kid, and I just knew I couldn't live like that. And friends of mine had told me about medical cannabis dispensaries in the Bay Area. And so I went to visit and actually came back to San Diego, closed down my business, and moved up to the Bay Area to be closer to the dispensaries. About 2 months into getting settled, there was a DEA raid on one of the dispensaries in San Francisco. I was terrified and frustrated that I had changed my entire life to be near this medication, and that access could be shut off as well.
Medical marijuana has been legal in California since Prop 215 passed in 1996 by a large margin. But the federal government doesn't agree with the citizens of California and uses the Controlled Substances Act to continue to conduct raids on the marijuana dispensaries with the support of local police. Now, even though the Reason Foundation is a very serious, scholarly kind of a group, and I'm not exactly some left-wing nut, the DEA and the LAPD refused our request for interviews. But I did get to sit down with Steve Whitmore, the Sheriff's Department spokesman for Los Angeles County.
Well, the Sheriff's Department, in general, under the direction of Sheriff Baca, treats medical marijuana dispensaries low on the priority scale of law enforcement in the areas in which we have jurisdiction. In the areas that we patrol, for example, where there are medical marijuana dispensaries, what we do is that we monitor the outside. We make sure, and we monitor what's going on and make sure that nothing illegal is taking place, and whenever it does, we obviously move in and do what's appropriate.
My first experience with medical marijuana came when I was in the service in Vietnam, and I found that to be something that was comfortable for me because I don't drink alcohol, and it gave me a sense of calmness, and certainly if you've been in combat, a sense of calmness is a nice place to be. So I found that very comforting. When I first heard of it, I was afraid of it, but then once I tried it and found that it wasn't a terrible thing, it was a good thing, then I proceeded to use it and have used it since.
And so I use actually a tincture, which is basically use alcohol to extract the medical compounds out of the plant. These are very common way to make medicines from whole plant substances. So if you go to your local herbal store or Whole Foods, you'd probably find an echinacea tincture or a St. John's wort tincture. It's the same process, but with cannabis.
Cannabis has a very distinct purpose and has a very positive purpose if it's used correctly. The silliness of charging in and breaking doors down and grabbing things, I think they just tried to bankrupt the pharmacies, to put them out of business. Come in and take their money and take their product and then see if they can regroup and financially continue. And that's not the right thing to do. They don't do that to other places.
If medical marijuana was decriminalized nationally, if the DEA stood down, their plate would be full with other drugs. I mean, just the abuse of prescription drugs.
Then why don't they?
Well, it's a good question. It's an excellent question. I can't answer that. I'm not a member of the federal government. However, if I was sitting across from our current president, I would certainly encourage him to do so.
So I think it's clear by now that the federal government needs to reclassify marijuana. People that need it should be able to get it safely and easily. And if that bothers you, if that really makes you nervous that people are out there using marijuana to ease their pain, here's what you do. Drive down to any old gas station in America like this one, go inside, buy yourself a nice cold brew, pop the top. They really take the edge off. For the Reason Foundation, I'm Drew Carey.